publishing experience. I started from MENA, doing games for the MENA, and now I'm doing games that are global. And this journey is something I would like to share, just to touch upon a few of the myths that we as developers in MENA sometimes fall into. We just want to always, I guess we all try to strive towards doing the best we can do. And world-class job, state-of-the-art job, compete with the best anywhere. But we always, somehow, I noticed the developers among us here that are in the MENA, we have this developer bias where we think we should make local content to local audiences. And this is a very, very big bias. It shouldn't be applied universally to all game genres and to all games we want to make and to all teams. And this is coming, from the horse's mouth. I mean, I built web MMOs with authentic Arabic content for Arabic speakers 12, 13 years ago, and we've gone through this journey. And then you realize the gaming market at least has evolved to becoming largely a global market. You have China being a fortress, Korea, Japan have fortresses. The rest is one big global market. And we are still stuck in this attitude that we need to make local content for local audiences. I'm not saying we should never make local content or never go to local audiences, but we should be more insightful about such decisions. For example, a word game for local audiences might make sense, but a tank war game for local audiences, just be right speaking. We have the Babel folks here who had a lot of tanks fighting tanks and did very well with it. For local audiences, the content was not local, not necessarily local. Maybe you guys can share a bit later how you were able to make it local. A similar attitude is the myth coming from the marketer. So the marketer, there's a line here, I will just try to read it. The marketer here assumes that local audiences desire local content, and it's not really the case. Gamers want a good game. They're not reading a book or watching a movie. First and foremost, they want a good game. Look at basketball. You throw a ball in a net. It's a human behavior. You like to hit the net, you like to hit the ring and the ball to aim. I don't care what color the ball is, what language basketball is. It's a gaming behavior that's universal, that's new. Some things can be more local. So in fact, we all know of games like, for example, Revenge of Sultans, and everybody says it's a very local game, but in fact, Revenge of Sultans, when it first released, was actually, for its time, a very good game to start with. It was a good game. A lot of clunkiness, but fundamentally a good game. Cherry on top, Arabic. That's cherry on top. And I can share with you a journey I've gone through about how things became more global, and we shouldn't belittle the MENA player thinking that they will play the Arabic first. We at Falafel Games, before Niftycraft, we started with a very simple mission. It was making culturally relevant games to Arabic speakers. So we would go to the player and we would tell them, hey, we are maybe not the best game out there, but we are the most Arabic. And it worked wonders. 15 years ago, it worked wonders. And there's market dynamic reasons why this worked wonders. First of all, access, distribution. Back then, the player, you would go to google.com.sa, local search engine. Look for Al'ab, Arabic keyword. Get 10 results, 2 of which are playable, 1 of which is ours. Bam, 50% market share. Now that dynamic evolved with the evolution and the dominance of the app stores on mobile. And app stores are operations that are run globally, and they allow content from anywhere to be reached anywhere, Now, that user whom we used to tell, we're maybe not the best game, but we're the most Arabic, has 10,000 new games a month or a week in their pocket from Vietnam, from the Philippines, from Finland, from the UK, from everywhere. And their tastes evolved. They don't, we don't have to always belittle them. So going back to kind of content that could resonate with them, it must be a good game first. First, PUBG is the top grossing game in MENA. It's not a local game. Cherry on top is the Arabic or local content. So it's definitely a cherry on top and not a necessary part of. Do you have a question?
No.
Okay, sorry, because I saw you were half raising your hand. Yeah, so it's not only like a cultural thing, but it's also market dynamics, how you access the games and what you see when you access the games. Now there are some theses such as trivia games, word games are necessarily local content. Yes, largely. Others, a shooter does not have to be local content. I mean, we are so diversified as in genres and subgenres that this doesn't apply equally to everywhere, to all the genres. Another myth we fall into that prevents us from fighting at the world-class stage is that we believe our market is the be-all and tell-all of all the markets. We are 400 million Arabic speakers. It's bigger than the United States. That's a discussion we had earlier. Bigger than, maybe as large as Southeast Asia. So we can survive and thrive in the market where there are Arabic speakers. Yes and no. Yes and no. But I will make the case why no, because the myth is yes. So, we see these news reports, $7 billion, $2 billion, I don't know what the market is. I really don't know. Is it 5 billion, 2 billion, 1 billion, 10 billion? No idea. It's large enough. And it attracts us, and we're like, okay, let's just go to this market only. And again, this is coming from a person who made a living from making games for Arabic speakers. The reality is that when you go to market with a game, it's not a one-time shot. You go with the first version, and the second version, and the third version for the first year, for the second year. You don't want a game that just lives for 2 months. You want a game that lives for 20 years. Okay. You are going, and this happened to us, by the way. You are going to an Arabic-speaking market. Let's say it's $10 billion, okay, and you have a big market share in it, and you're profitable. And you have local content with local team, local audiences, local market, local everything. And a competitor has a similar game in terms of play pattern, similar game. No local content, no local audience, no local team. Similar play pattern. Also making less performance than you in the first year. So let's give an example. I'm gonna try to get inspired from some numbers I have. Let's say you make $10 million in the first year. And you're in the MENA, that's your whole market. And your competitor, who's global, is maybe making 1, 2 million, because they're like ignoring, overlooking the MENA. So falling behind you in the first year. In the second year, they have collected profits globally. Their profits were maybe larger than your own revenues. And no matter how you turn it, your target market is smaller than them. So the second year, they're updating the game, you're updating the game, they're updating the game with much more production value than you can ever dream of, or you can justify, or you can afford. So the next year, they catch up. The year after, they beat you. The year after, they exceed you. So again, it doesn't apply to all genres, to all geos, to all teams. But it's just trying to put a dose of realism here, that it's not always the market is good, this market is large enough. Sometimes it's too tight in some genres that it allows those who are harvesting their profits globally to outdo us over time with production values, and then offer to the gamer a better gameplay experience despite not having anything. Now AJ and MJ are here. I think you guys have touched on some games that were not made originally as concept with local content, but you were able to make the live ops very local. What is the things that the gamer doesn't see. And this is maybe some of your secrets, what kind of stakes, what kind of rewards should I make in my events? How do I price? How do I discount? How do I motivate them? How I know they are very social animals, they want to compete. How do I make them compete? How do I make the whales clash? All these are consumer insights that are very regional. It doesn't really have to, but it's maybe much more poignant, much more powerful than having a character that's dressed in an Arabic garb. Possibly. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this later on. And well, that's a known issue, that the talent is scarce and fragmented. So it's actually, when I say fragmented, the default understanding is that it's fragmented geographically, and definitely it is. So if you want to make, a talented developer from Jordan work with a talented artist from Iraq, it's really difficult to put them together and to play. The whole region is so fragmented. So there's the geographical fragmentation. But more importantly, I think, or at least an angle that we largely have overlooked, is the expertise fragmentation. So to make a game, or a game business even worse, you need all sorts of skills and sub-skills. You need the programming, the game design, the art. You need the management to glue them all together. You need the business side, the publishing, the support, and you need them to work together with the development, very closer and closer these days. And you need to be state of the art and world class in every single one of them. It's a whole chain. And if one ring in that chain is not good enough, it all breaks down. If you have an amazing game and let's say the graphics are not attractive enough or not readable enough, high likelihood that it will break down. So when we build our teams here, we look at each other, and we realize that very, very, very few teams have a working team that's not fragmented in terms of expertise. They're either really good in programming, or really good in marketing, or really good in art, and they express it. It's not bad to have strengths, but not missing everything else. People who are really good at art, that's what they should. The game has great story, great art, whatever, but it just doesn't play, or is not tuned well. So that fragmentation is something I think we should think of much more. And it brings me in the context of the next topic, strategy. So, because it's really difficult to have all these sub-skills put together, maybe we shouldn't make a game. As a game business, the game is like the epitome, is top of the pyramid. A copyright, an intellectual property is top of the pyramid. It does require all this expertise put together. But if we look at ourselves and do some introspection and some reflection, and look at our strengths, let's say our strengths, we're really good at making, that's like a cliche example, but it will bring the point. We're really good at making environment models. Furniture, sofas, whatever, bean bags, poles, houses. Do we really have to build a whole game about, with that strength? Maybe you can make assets and sell them on the store that are on some asset stores that are just these models. That's our strength. Or programming services, or work for hire if we're good as an outsourcing team. So this is here what I'm saying is game copyright versus low-hanging fruit. So having the game intellectual property is the hardest thing. And it's consistently the first thing we think of. Oh, gaming, okay. In our case in Abu Dhabi, alongside esports. Now putting esports aside, because it's a different industry, in gaming is the first thing we think of. Oh, you have a gaming studio, game, what game you're making, what game you're publishing. But there's so many businesses in games. There's the services, there's the work for hire, and linking this to the previous topic, what is your strength? Where can you apply that strength to come up with the best game-related business possible? And these days, all the game developers are actually, and publishers, are having a hard time because all platforms are saturated. PC is a bloodbath. Mobile is a bloodbath. Console is the private garden of blockbusters. So, everyone's looking around, and any idea you have, any subgenre you have, any platform you want to think of, it's tight. So still waiting on emergent platforms, maybe on a new paradigm. So some emergent platforms for a very long time, this is the forever emergent platform, is VR. Some is streamed games on TikTok or whatever, those games that are on TikTok. Or now some people talked about web-based games, again, the renaissance of web games. So as as everything is saturated, we need to look at our strengths. Maybe those new emergent platforms are something we have to think of much more. And a major trend in emerging platform, I think developers of the region should look at, is a very low-hanging fruit, and it's Roblox and Fortnite creative. So this, saves you a lot of programming, saves you the need to have like consistent art and everything. Most of these things are taken care of. If you're a good game designer, you need basic programming skills to have a good Roblox experience with a lot of audience, or a good Fortnite experience. And or even modding is actually also a good way. You take existing games, you replace the textures, you have a new game, and you put it to the modding community. So we tend, in the region, as developers here, to ignore or underestimate, under-index for sure, all these other alternatives: mods, Roblox, Fortnite, asset stores, work for hire, much more than in many other markets I have seen. I don't know if we still have time. I think we're almost done here. I mean, a big reason why we're not also at the world-class level is that everyone, I on purpose left this at the end because everyone mentions it, is investment, but returns beget returns. So no investor has made very few investors have made really good money from the region so far. And so this as an indicator as to where the money should go in the region is not very promising until there are breakthroughs, more breakthroughs. I don't know what the solution to this is. I mean, when you make good returns by investing in a warehouse or in logistics, even you still make good return when you invest in traditional industries. Why go into such innovative or risky industries? I think with time this will be solved, but we cannot expect investors to come in and be like, oh yeah, take my money, I love your idea, and they have, the corpses of other investors are laying all over the place in front of them. They need to see returns so that more money can come in. Thank you.